Sprzedaj góra 2.
Kiedy Bóg do nas mówi? Czasami zdarza mi się popełnić jakiś grzech, jakieś zło. Czasami myślimy, że niemożliwe, żeby Bóg tak chciał.
W imię Ojca i Syna i Ducha Świętego. Amen. O której masz się stawić w stolarni?
O 16. Drugi koniec kraju jest, nie?
A co, pękasz? Dasz radę.
A co, nie macie gdzie spać w tej stolarni?
W jakiej stolarni?
A skąd jesteś?
Księdzem jestem.
To ja przedstawię.
Zaprowadzę do proboszcza, uciesz.
Gołąb Wojciech.
Ksiądz Tomasz.
Myślę, kto mógłby mnie zastąpić.
No ale co, mszę i wszystko?
I nie tylko.
Widziałem tablicę ze zdjęciami.
Bóg tak chciał. Bóg chciał zabić 7 osób?
Słyszałem, że ksiądz wypytuje o tego kierowcę. Nawet rozumiem ciekawość, tylko śledztwo jest już zamknięte.
Mam prawo rozmawiać z wiernymi, o czym tylko chcę.
Żadne seminarium nie przyjmiecie z wyrokiem.
Pani Lidia to co nieco mi już księdzu opowiadała.
Tak?
Po co wszystko rozpierdalasz, co?
Bo wiecie, w czym jesteśmy dobrzy? W skreślaniu. Wskazywaniu palcem. Wybaczyć to nie znaczy zapomnieć. Wybaczyć to kochać. Kochać kogoś pomimo jego winy. Jaka by nie była. Żeby proboszcz wrócił, bo ja naprawdę...
Sveiki visi, kurie prisijungė prie mūsų pokalbio. Šiandien su mumis pagrindinis veikėjas, pagrindinis aktorius filmo Kristaus kūnas, tai Bartosz Bielenia. Ir hi Bartosz. Please, everybody who has questions, you can write in the comments and I will give it to Bartosz to answer. And first of all, Bartosz, really thanks a lot for joining us in this virtual Q&A. It's very sad that we can't have you here, but that is the situation everywhere now. So thanks for finding your time. And just to start, I would like to start.
I'm not so far away from you, to be honest. I'm just very close to the border with Belarus, so it's you can be closer in Poland to Vilnius, but it's still very far away. So
nice. And how is your quarantine days now?
They're awesome. I'm spending time on the countryside.
Oh wow!
So it's nice.
Happy for you. I would like to start with maybe a lot of people already asked you this question, but just to start. Oh, so beautiful. You worked a lot in different theaters in Poland, and you did only one bigger role in cinema, which is Kaspersky's film The High Frontier. I think it was 2016, yeah? But maybe you could tell me then how did you meet director Jano Komasos, and how did you get interested in Corpus Christi?
I was struggling for roles like every other actor previously, so I just got information about this audition, and I decided to audition for that film. So it was an ordinary casting. I just sat in a line with other people, and I just did some 2 scenes and 1 impro, and they called me back a few times, and then Jan just proposed me a role and to work together. So it was an ordinary casting.
Okay, and what got you interested in this character, and how did you develop? Was it really just because personally for me, Daniel seems such a complex character. He's not representing like idea of what is good or idea of what is bad. He's really like humane, like really a character with flesh and body. And maybe you could tell us a bit, how did you develop the character with Jan?
That's wonderful what you're saying, because that was our goal from the very beginning. When I read the script, that was the main thing that I discussed with Jano Komasos, that it needs to be a person who's not good or bad. He's just someone who's trying to do something, to do best, or to repay for his guilt. And his his complexity comes from, in my opinion, from that we don't know his story. We don't know the whole story of him. We get to know him on the special point of his life when he's getting out of the juvie, and he's creating himself on the path that's in front of him. So maybe that's what's making him so reliable and I don't know, human, as you said, because we don't know his story, and he's creating himself every day.
And was it important for you that the story was based on the true story, on the true character? Not at all, yeah?
Not at all. Immediately I understood that we are not making a documented fiction about someone or something that really happened. That was just an inspiration for a scriptwriter to start this story, because to be honest, there is like several cases every year of people pretending to be a priest in Poland. Really. I think it's probably, if you would dig in Lithuanian cases, probably there are some people too, because most of them are doing this for economical reasons, for money, just gathering for some occasions, some money as a priest, because it's pretty easy to be one in disguise, because you're just putting a collar and you're becoming one. But the case of our character was very different, and the inspiration comes from this also, because our character and the guy on whom we are basing our story, he really wanted to be a priest. He really wanted to be a priest just for conducting a mass, for being a priest simply, and to do some good and to praise the Lord. So that was different, and that was just the main spine of our story, and everything else is different, basically, because anyway, we were creating the story on set and before set, so we changed so much that it's far from the real story. So before I started to create Daniel, I never read even article about this guy. I did it even after premiere, long after premiere. I read this article.
And have you done any additional research together with Jano Komasos? Have you went, I don't know, to juvenile center or even been small towns? Of course, you're visiting and you know the atmosphere there. But maybe what I was more interested is this dynamic in juvenile center, and those characters who are basically just separated, and they can't find this connection between each other, and they locked somewhere. And I don't know, for me now it seems like very relevant thinking about the situation now.
Yeah, it was the most important thing, just those visits in juvies. Because the religious part I knew from my life, because I was involved in Catholic Church for some years when I was younger, so I knew it from this perspective. I knew the life of the small cities because I was raised in Podlasie. So Białystok, it's a pretty big city, but still most of my family lives on the village. So I knew it from my experiences. So there was no need for research there. And so the part that was missing the most for me was like juvies, because I've never been in one, thanks God. So we visited like 3 of them. In one we've spent the night, like we've spent there 3 days. It was a very strong experience and pretty important, because I didn't want it to, you know, steal from the boys which are there. We were just talking with them, and for most of the time I was trying to capture the atmosphere of this place and capture the idea of how is it to be closed, or how is it to be isolated from everyone else and in such a small group of people, which are for most of the time male. There are no women visiting. Maybe sometimes they're like psychologists or social workers, but you're in the men's world for most of the time, and for the time that your whole life is, your whole personality is creating. So when you're getting to juvie, you're 15, you're getting out in 21, so it's most of your adolescence. So it's leaving a mark on your character for sure, and that I wanted to capture. But my most important and inspiration was a book. It was a collection of short stories written by girls and boys who were in juvies. Every year there was some competition that they were writing some short stories and sending them to one place, and some people chose those which were the best, and all of them were published, and I got a lot of inspiration from there. I read all of them, and it was very powerful for me.
Okay, wow. We have some questions from our listeners. So first of all, Agle is saying that great performance and outstanding movie, so compliments for you. And her question would be, in the film and in real life, Poland stands out as one of the most religious countries in Europe, especially among elderly. In your opinion, how significant is the religion among Polish youth? What does religion mean to them, if it means at all?
I think we, as a young people, we are very diverse right now, because we have, we're traveling, we have access to internet, we're interested in a huge variety of things. So it's changing for the younger generation. For sure, it's the religion has a huge influence as a thing that we were raised in, because most of our houses, most of our families, most of people that I know are from families which were attending church, or they were religious in some extent. So I think it's important, even if we don't want to acknowledge that, and we don't want to agree with that it's important for us. It plays a very important role in our lives still.
Yes, and another question. I heard that in Poland you are well known as a theater actor. How would you describe the difference between those two experiences? Also, was it hard to find this character, and is there any specific qualities you admire about him? About the difference between theater and cinema, as I understood, and what qualities you admired about Daniel.
So the difference is huge, because on a film where you're working for, okay, it depends, because this period before shooting can be pretty long, and you can prepare for some months, but it's not so intense as rehearsals in theater, because in theater we're rehearsing for 3 months almost every day. and we're talking about the material that we're working on, we're rehearsing it, we're memorizing, we're playing it many times, and then there is a premiere and we're playing it for years, and it's a live performance, so it's every time it's different. And with film you can rehearse something, but you can't rehearse like whole film, whole 1.5 hour, you know, in a row. You're just doing some readings, doing some rehearsals, not even memorizing text before going on set, because it's going to be a month and you can't memorize whole script immediately. So for most of the time it's just intellectual preparation. And for the role of Daniel, I was attending a gym for 3 months, 4 times a week. So because I needed to be bigger. So it's way different, because then you're finishing your shooting period and the whole material is in hands of director and editor, and they can do anything with that. you can just see something that you never thought it would come out from your mouth, and they just gonna. So, and it's set in stone and it's unchangeable, and you know, it's there and you can't do anything about that. And with theater you can sometimes it's worst because it's falling apart, but sometimes it's growing, it's growing with you, it's changing with you as you're changing within time. But I would never decide which is better for me or which is most important, because both of them, they are influencing each other. For example, I think theater keeps me ready, keeps me in shape as an actor, because I'm playing every month some performances, so it's keeping me in shape. And also I would never want to lose this connection with live audience, because it's something really exceptional, that you can experience something with people in one space. Mm-hmm. And what about Daniel? What I love about him the most, I think he's really straightforward. He thinks fast and he's reacting. He's not overthinking life, and he's doing like what's good, judging by his intuition, and he's doing it immediately. I love it. I have tended to overthink stuff, and you know, to do this, and he's just like, yeah, I know what is good. Like everyone knows immediately, like this is good and this is bad. So, and he's doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, in this way, he's such an opposite of all the community in which he's coming. It seems that everybody in that small town needed this energy and this liberation, that you can just go out and speak and you know, find this. I really like that he has such big compassion to everyone in this small community. It was really beautiful.
I think it's because he went through a lot. He knows that you know, the life, it's not white and black and white. That everyone comes with their story, and you can't judge them immediately, because you never know. You never know what's behind those eyes.
Yeah, and that's in a way that he's so fast in reacting, but actually not fast in judging or in pushing people away. It's like, it seems that, yeah, he has this beautiful experience and openness to different people, which is amazing quality of him. There is another question. First of all, such a great performance. And what were the biggest challenges you had to face while creating such a complex character? So the challenge, if you had any.
Keeping this guy with this condition of unknowing. Like not knowing what's coming next and what to do and what's next day is gonna bring. So this condition was the hardest for me to maintain.
And there was another question about the music. Yeah, there was a question. I really like the music, and if you could say what kind of music are you listening yourself?
I'm listening a lot what my girlfriend is playing. Okay. That's true. Today we were listening to Brazilian music because we were making pão queijo.
Oh la la!
Greetings to all Brazilians watching that. So we were listening a lot to Brazilian music, and we love Brazilian music. It's so joyful. I really like Childish Gambino. I'm listening to Kendrick Lamar also because my wife is playing it all the time on the loop in our house. So yeah, a lot of music, a lot of varieties, but those recently the most.
And could you comment a bit about the choices of music in the film, if you were speaking about the crew, about these decisions?
Yes, Yannick decided to work with our composers. They live in France. They were working on Leviathan, a Russian film. And what I know from them, that they were getting a lot of inspiration from the sawmill sounds. This sound is like cutting a wood. Like all the time in the background you have the sound of the sawmill. So that was their main inspiration, and this thriller vibe of our music. I was really wanting them to put a lot of Polish rap and hip hop there, and way more techno, but unfortunately they decided to do it with ambient and composers, and I was really disappointed because of that. I chose a variety of techno for our film. And a lot of, for example, there is a song, Swoop, from Białas, which we were singing on the scene when we were drinking with Pincher. And we really wanted to have this song like longer in our film, but they decided not to put it in like as a music. Pity, in my opinion, but. Okay, it's all right. And
I would like to a bit to come back to the topic of religion, and maybe just to ask your own opinion, if you would read this film as a critique of religion as institution, more like a church, a critique to the church, or rather you would say that it didn't have this intention of putting this in front.
I think it's not a critique of the church. For sure, it's not a critique of the structure, because our character don't know the structure.
Yeah,
he have no idea what's the church. He has his naive idea of what it is, what it should be, and he's perceiving that. So if someone is reading it as a critique, maybe he needs to look in the mirror. If someone from the church thinks it's a critique, probably it is, because there is a lot of people who are stuck in this structure, which is made of people. And as my character, I wouldn't judge them because they're stuck in some structures. But I would say it's not a critique. It's not a critique of anything. Daniel or our story is not criticizing anyone. I would say opposite. It's redemption. It's forgiveness for everyone, and spreading this love as he understood the words of Christ, like forgive your enemy and forgive yourself. So it's more of that.
Nice, beautiful answer. And maybe you could say it as well a bit about the scenes of the mass when he's giving his extremely passionate and energetic talks to the community. Maybe you could tell a bit how did you work on these scenes and on the text, because probably
they were improvised for most of the time. So as the improv can be, improvised and set. Like for after a few takes from every angle, you're getting used to some words and how it needs to flow. But I was preparing it with director based on what was written by our scriptwriter, but it was for most of the time just changed by me and director and our DOP, who had a huge impact on our film, also on the script. So they were improvised and set.
Really, and the DOP Piotr Sobocinski was the DOP, yeah, of this film. Could you say a bit more? How did you work with him, and what was his input in the film?
Yeah, his input was huge. He had a huge input in the film, for sure. I discovered him as a very talented dramaturg. He was working on the script a lot. We cut it into scenes and we put it on the board, and we were talking and discussing what's working, what are our weak points in the story, and he was just smashing it. It was unbelievable. I've never seen this kind of work and this kind of precision even in theater in my life. Maybe from few guys which are specialized in that, but he was great. He's a natural born cinematographer and artist, simply. And so that was from preparation, and on set he's just a great barometer. Like, he's just, I was for many times looking at him, is it working? If Piotr is happy about the scene, it's going well. If something's wrong, he was always showing it, and he was just saying sometimes, just, we need to stop doing it that way because it's horrible. I can't stand it. So we were forced to work on this balance between the director, me, and DOP, and decide what's in which direction we were working. And it was great because I love the collective work and I love sharing ideas, and I felt that I can speak, and all of the people on set can speak freely about what we're experiencing and what we're seeing, and that brought some honesty to our work, and we knew that we're not going somewhere which is false.
Great to hear. Our time is coming to an end, so maybe just for the last question, how did you find, because it was your first film which traveled so much, all the festivals and meetings with different audiences, and then at the end the Oscars. Maybe you would like to share a bit this experience of meeting a different audiences, and because it's completely different than connection in the theater with the audience. This is something you did a long time ago, and then it keeps running, and you keep coming in and meeting the audiences.
Yeah, that's true, and that's crazy that you did something a year before, and after a year it's like coming to live, and everyone is watching it, everyone is talking about it, and everyone wants to know something about it still till today, as we do. It's almost 2 years ago that we started. 2 years ago I started my preparation just now. For a film. I was casted 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. So it's been a long time ago.
Yes.
And it's crazy. It's extremely nice. Also, the time we've spent almost 2 months in United States, and audiences are not so different. We're perceiving, especially with maybe it's with different films, it's different. But with this film, I think every community has some problems. Every community has its traumas. And everyone needs someone from outside, from the outside perspective, to heal us. So that wasn't very different, and the questions were pretty the same about that, and about the preparation also. But the main difference for me, for example, was in United States. They were always asking about what's next, what's the end, like there's gonna be a sequel, and they were really wanting to have a sequel. It was like, no, never, no, that's a horrible idea. Like, what do we? No, it's open. You need to think about it. You need to. It's very European. I've learned that we really like to leave those discussable endings, full of mysteries and very complex build stories, open for interpretation, but no, not in States. They really need to know.
They really need to know everything, yeah, and what's next. Okay, so it was a big pleasure to meet you and to talk with you. So thanks again.
I can see people, like, if you're there and you're watching, thank you very much. And be safe, be healthy, and wash your hands and stuff. Thank you for this meeting.
Thanks a lot, Bartosz. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.